Good morning, everybody. So, today I wanted to share a story with you about a dream I had the other day. And I just had to share it with y'all because I was thinking this happens so many times when we're reading. Are y'all ready to hear about my dream?
Yes.
Okay, so I was off work and I was at home just relaxing and I was ready to go do something because it was my day off and I did not want to stay in my house all cooped up. So I looked outside and it was raining. It was raining and storming and I just couldn't do anything outside. So I called my friend Alyssa and we decided that we should just go drive on a trip and find somewhere else to go. So we kept driving and driving and driving until we got to the beach. When we got to the beach, it was sunny and so pretty, but we got out and it was really hot. So we just decided, let's go get in the water, let's go play in the ocean and see if we can cool down. So we did that for a little while, but we got kind of tired. So we were like, let's get some ice cream. So we got ice cream, but the wind was so bad, it knocked it out of our hands. So we decided maybe the beach isn't for us and we left. But we drove back and drove all down the road and we decided that we were just going to go to the mountains. So we ended up in the mountains and we got out of our car and the weather was so different than the beach. So when we got out, we got our jackets on and we started walking down the trail and it was so pretty out there. We saw trees and bushes and snow on the mountaintop and it was just beautiful. But then the sun started setting, so we were decided that we needed to go home. So that was the end of my dream. And when I woke up, I realized that this was something that happened in books and real life all the time. We experience settings in my dream. And I just had to share that with you guys because we were talking about this the other day, how books have settings. And I thought that was so fun. So I wanted to ask you guys some questions. Have you ever taken a trip before like that, the one in my dream? Yeah, where did you go, London?
I went to the mountains.
You went to the mountains, and what did you see when you're at the mountains?
I saw trees and I saw some clouds and a bunch of dirt.
Yeah. So if you were in a book and you had went to the mountains, what would the setting be in your book?
The mountains.
The mountains. Alex, have you ever been on a trip before?
Yeah,
Where
I
did you
went.
go?
I went to New York City.
New York City. And what was in New York City?
A bunch of buildings and people and cars.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
pretty that's pretty different than here because we
yeah.
live in the country. So if you were in a book, what would your setting be for your trip?
Um, the city.
The city, yeah. So we talked about the setting last week, right? And we talked about major event. So today we're going to learn just a little bit more about how we put those events in order and settings in order in stories, okay? So I'm going to go over a slideshow that I've made for y'all. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to learn about describing major events. And if you remember last week, we learned about major events. Can someone tell me if they remember what major events mean?
Aren't major events like the big parts of the story?
Yes, they are the big parts of the story. And do you think that the story would make sense without those major events?
No.
Okay, so let's learn about how we can put major events in order. Because, sometimes there can be more than one major event, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look. There are three letters that will help us describe the major events in a story. Are you guys ready to learn what those are?
Yes.
Okay, they are B, M, E. Let's say it together and lock it in our brains. B, M, E.
BME.
Lock it in our brains. Good job. Okay, so the B stands for beginning. And in the beginning of stories, this is when the characters and settings are introduced. So do you guys have a favorite book?
I really like Chester's Way.
You do? Okay, so in the beginning of your favorite book, what characters were introduced?
Chester.
Chester. Okay, and Alex, do you have a favorite book?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Charlotte's Web.
Okay, keep Charlotte's Web in your brain, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and so let's move on to the M. Can anyone guess what the M is going to be?
Middle.
Middle. Good job. So M is for middle. And in the middle of stories, we start to see that the characters are going through something. They could be going on an adventure, and a problem might be introduced to us in the middle of the story. Alex, can you think about your favorite book, Charlotte's Web, and tell me what happened in the middle? Was it a problem that got introduced, or were they going on an adventure? What happened?
Yeah, so there was this pig, and his name was Wilbur, and he was born, and the problem was is that he was going to get killed to be food, and he was scared of that. And then there was a spider, and she made webs, and then he was saved, and he didn't have to, and that was the problem in the story.
That is a good problem that's introduced in the middle of a book. So we can kind of relate that to our favorite books, right? Okay, so E stands for end. And the ending, the characters should have solved their problems or came back from their adventures. And the characters can change by the end of the story, but not every character changes. So let's think back to last week when we read Pete the Cat Play Ball. Do you guys think that Pete changed by the end of the story?
I feel like he kind of stayed the same.
Yeah, right. He did say the same. So that's a pretty good example of not every character changes, but some do. In your favorite book, did your character change by the end of the story?
Mine did.
Yours
Yes.
did. How did your character change? London, go ahead.
Well, the beginning of my story, which was Chester's Way,
Mhm.
Chester was really mean to this girl who moved into the neighborhood, and then at the end of the story, he became friends with her.
Uh-huh. So he changed. He decided, yeah, let's be friends. And he changed his thoughts about her, right?
Yeah.
Alex, did your character change by the end of the book?
Yeah, whenever it started, he was just born, and he was like a little tiny pig, and then as the book went along, he grew up and he changed kind of like that.
Yeah, so he grew up, and you got to see him grow up and all of his experiences in this book. So let's say they get letters together one more time so we can make sure that we know them for when we read our story. And the book that we're reading is going to be my favorite book. So I'm excited for you guys to read it with me. Let's say these letters together. Ready?
V and E.
Good job, guys. So, when we read Where the Wild Things Are today, think about the major events that are happening in the BME. Someone tell me what BME means.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Good job. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the slideshow with you. Okay, and we are going to read my favorite book, Where the Wild Things Are. And by looking at the cover of this book, what do you guys think is going to happen?
He looks kind of sad.
He looks sad.
Mm-hmm.
I think he looks scary.
He looks scary. Yes. So let's find out what happens in here. Let's find out if he's sad or if he's really mean or scary. Okay? You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. Where the Wild Things Are. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. Look at him making mischief. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, I'll eat you up. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. Guys, look at Max right here. Do you think he was happy about getting sent to his room?
No.
Have you ever been sent to your room?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
It made me mad. I was mad at my parents.
You were mad? I bet Max is feeling pretty mad too right now. Okay. That very night, a forest grew in Max's room and grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world around him. Do you guys really think that a forest grew in Max's room that night?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. What do you think he was doing? What was he using?
I think he was making it all up in his head. I think he was imagining it.
He was imagining it, and so that's our imagination, right?
Yes.
Yes, good job. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed through the day and night. and in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Do you guys think that they're going to be nice, or do you think they're going to be mean to Max?
They look kind of nice. They kind of hairy though.
They are kind of hairy, but you think that they're going to be nice?
They look happy. Their faces look kind of happy.
Yeah. Alex, what do you think?
Claws. I think they're gonna be mean because I don't like their claws.
You don't like their claws? They are kind of big. Okay, let's find out. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with a magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. Look, Max is being scary to them. They
look so surprised.
Right? Because he's a little guy. All right. The wild things made him king of all wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. Look at them. What are they doing?
Are they howling? And they're climbing a tree?
They're climbing trees. It kind of does look like they're howling. Look at his mouth open.
Like the people that howl at the moon?
Yeah, they kind of do look like that. And then what are they doing here?
They're hanging on the trees, climbing around.
What about this one? What are they doing now?
It looks like, oh, he has a crown.
Yeah, because remember they made him king of all wild things.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they're like carrying him around.
Yeah, they're having fun, huh? Now stop, said Max, and sent all the wild things off to bed without their supper. That's kind of familiar, huh?
Didn't his mom just sit on the bed without supper?
She did. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of all where the wild things are. What does he look like right here? What do you think he's feeling right now?
He looks kind of sad.
Feeling just, I don't know.
Alex, why do you think he looks sad?
Because, well, he doesn't really have a sad face because he has like no emotion, but he like has his hand like that, and sometimes when I'm sad, I do that.
Yeah. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said no. The wild things roared their terrible roars and gashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye and sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. Look at him going through the sea right now. Where's he going?
Is he going home?
I think so. Let's find out. And into the night of his very own room where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was hot. So, where did Max end up?
Back home.
He ended up back home. That is correct. So, do you guys think that you're ready to work on an activity with me?
Yes.
Okay. So, can we remember what our 3 letters are that's going to help us with this activity?
B.
BME.
BME. Good job. I can tell you guys locked it in your brain. Good job. Okay. So what I want you to do is I'm going to pull up a BME chart and you're going to see what it actually looks like. So I have one behind me. I want you guys to share your answers with me so we can have it up all class. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, so the BME chart is beginning, middle, and end. And you guys are going to fill out on a sheet of paper the settings that happen in the beginning, middle, and end. And I want you to work with your Turn It Up partner and discuss what you think the settings were in the beginning, middle, and end. That's where you guys are working together to find these answers, okay? Start with the beginning and then raise your hand when you're done.
So you want us to talk about the beginning and then share it and then do the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Alex, what did you think happened at the beginning?
I think that he was mad because he got sent to his room, and the settings was basically his room, which is probably in his house. So that's
I
what
agree. I think so too.
And then the beginning or the middle, I would say that basically he was in the forest.
Yeah, I remember him. I remember in the middle part of the story, he was hanging with the monsters and he got his crown thing. Like he got that crown and then he like rode around on the monsters or all the wild things. And then I remember that it was really fun. And then I remember seeing Max like really sad. And then I think that it ended with him back in his room because he went home.
Yeah, he took that boat home and he said goodbye to him, and they were being kind of mean, but he wanted to go.
Yeah, they didn't want him to leave. They're like, "Don't go."
Yeah. So it went from like one place to another and then back to the same as the first.
Yeah, it did.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I heard some really great discussion between you and your turn and talk partner. So what I want you guys to do is take turns telling me what you decided on and what you agreed on the settings were, so I can fill them out on my BME chart because I have my own just like you guys had yours. So London, can you go ahead and tell me where the setting was in the beginning of the story?
Yeah, me and Alex talked and we both agreed that the story took place in Max's bedroom at the beginning of the story because he got sent to bed with no food.
That is a great answer, guys. So can you think about where his bedroom would be? What would another setting be in the beginning?
His house.
His house.
Where he lives.
Yes, that's a good job. Okay. Alex, can you tell me what setting that you and your partner agreed on for the middle of the story?
Yeah, so he was in his house and then he started imagining a bunch of things and trees growing, and then the setting was different and he was in the forest, basically, like the woods.
So the forest. That's a good one. Where else did he go? How did he get to the forest?
He went in the trees. I don't know.
Didn't he get on a boat?
He did go on a boat. So London, can you talk with your turn and talk partner and remind your partner how he got to the forest?
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, but Alex, I think he did climb on the trees, but he got on a boat and he sailed there to the forest.
Right.
It's okay.
He sailed there, yeah.
He sailed there. Okay, so what was the setting that when he was sailing?
The ocean, the water.
Ocean.
Right. What about the boat?
Great partner work. Do what?
What about the boat? Couldn't that be kind of a setting, like on the boat?
I think that the boat could be a good key detail to use to help us understand where the setting was, because you wouldn't really be in a boat if you were on land. Okay, so London, can you tell me what the ending setting was that you and your partner decided on?
Well, we know that the ending comes after the middle because of BME. And so we know that in the middle he was in the ocean, but he sailed back home. Mm-hmm. So he ended up in his own room again.
Okay, good job. You noticed a pattern? What happened in the beginning? Where was he at?
He was in his bedroom.
And at the end, where was he at?
He was in his bedroom again.
Okay, so what could another ending setting be?
His house.
His house. Good job, guys. All right. So I think that you guys did such a great job using key details from the book to decide what the BME was. I think that you guys are ready to move on to do something by yourself. Do you guys think so? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, so before we begin our assignment, let's go over our I can statement, okay? And we're going to say it, just repeat after me, okay? I'm going to point to everything. Okay. Today I can
Today I can
describe events that happen
describe events that happened
in a story.
in a story.
I can
I can
And
because I'm amazing.
because I'm amazing.
thing.
Good job, guys. Yes. So does anybody have any questions about BME? Do you understand what BME means?
It's beginning, middle, and end, right?
Alex, do you understand what BME means?
Yes, beginning, middle, and the end.
Good job. Okay, so for your practice that you're going to do by yourself, you got to get out a piece of paper and a pencil. And you're going to be drawing a picture. So if you want crayons, you can get out crayons, but you can just use your pencil if you want to. And I'm going to show you guys the slide of the BME chart that you're going to be using for your independent practice. So for your independent practice, you are going to be deciding the major events that happen in the story using key details, okay? So whenever you're doing this, you're going to think about the major events that happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I want you to choose your favorite major event, and I want you to draw a picture of it under the column. So go ahead and make 3 columns, BME, and write down the major event that happened in the BME. And remember to draw your favorite event that happened. Do you guys have any questions before you begin?
I think I understand.
Okay. Alex, are you good?
Are we just doing a picture or are we doing the words?
So you're going to write the words of the major events that happen in the beginning, middle, and end, and you're going to draw a picture of your favorite event. You can choose from the beginning, the middle, or the end.
Okay.
You guys let me know when you're done, okay?
Okay.
Is everybody done?
Yes. I done.
Me too.
Okay, guys. So can someone tell me what they put for the beginning of their major event?
I put Max got sent to his room.
Oh, that's a good major event. Alex, what did you put for the major event in the middle of the book?
I put that he became a king of the wild things.
That's good. London, did you put anything different for the middle of the book?
I almost put that he sailed or was like climbing the trees, but I think him becoming king was more important, so I put that as the main event for the middle.
That's good. You said that that him becoming king was an important part of the book.
Yeah.
So do you think that the book would have made sense if he didn't become king of the wild things?
I don't think so.
Alex, what did you put for your end major event?
That he basically went home.
He went home.
Yeah.
So, and that wouldn't make sense either as to why he was at home, right? If that was left out of the book.
Yeah.
That just shows us how important major events are. So, why do you guys think it's important to understand major events that happen in a story?
I feel like major events make the story interesting and they like explain how the story ends.
Right. And do you guys think that major events would make sense if they, or do you think stories would make sense if the major events weren't in it?
No, I don't think so.
No. And if you were telling a story to your friends, like how I told you guys about my dream, do you think it would make sense if I didn't tell you guys that we went to the beach or the mountains? Do you think my story would make sense? No. So it's important to use your major events even in your real life whenever you're telling stories to your friends or whenever you're telling them that you should read a good book and tell them what happens in it. So you guys did such a great job today, and I'm so proud of the work that you did. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. Good job, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your day.